The 23-year-old Bristolian is the name on everyone's lips right now as her mission to take over the world continues. Being the girlfriend of music's man of the moment Stormzy hasn't hindered her ever-growing empire either. This week Maya was announced as the new star of BBC Radio 1 and at the same time appeared in Vogue. Not bad for someone barely known a year ago. But in the past 12 months she's conquered everything from modeling for Adidas, launching her own frail lingerie and arrange for House of CB, presenting primetime Saturday night telly, hosting the MOBO Awards and even becoming a loose woman. And her meteoric rise to fame happened all before most of us have even chosen a clear career path. She reveals, "I started on YouTube and Twitter when I was about 16. There's a lot of people who saw me from my first ever YouTube video, so for them to see me presenting an ITV show like Cannonball on Saturday nights is crazy. They're like, yeah, go." But Maya admits it has taken a lot of hard graft. She says, "I used to want to act when I was younger, so I went to a lot of auditions which were often in London. I had an auntie who lived there, so I'd go up and stay with her for a little bit to do auditions. The more I was doing them, the more I felt that like maybe I should move." But it wasn't all plain sailing for the beauty. Maya, named after American poet and civil rights activist Maya Angelou, had a tough upbringing that saw her move to London aged just 16 to try to make her name in the fame game. Caught up in a modern-day tragedy as a teenager on the rough streets of Bristol, Maya's boyfriend Rico Gordon was brutally murdered in 2011 and she even appeared on Crime Watch to try to track down the killer. She explains, "That's the worst thing that's ever happened to me. It was unreal, the sort of thing that happens in films. That experience gave me so much motivation to push with my career. At the time, work was the only thing that made me happy. So I just kept on going with it. Bad things happen, but you've got to try to make good things out of that tough situation. That's what it taught me." Maya, who is of Somali and Swedish descent, also had to witness her own violent father's constant spells in and out of prison. As a child, she would answer the door to police searching for him, and reveals she felt guilty after telling officers he was hiding under a bed, which led to his arrest. Maya admits her dad was banged up for several short sentences following violent brawls. She remembers a conversation with his sister where she tried to understand more about him and his bad behavior, revealing, "I asked my aunt lots about their childhood, whether anything happened to him that made him the way he was. But she said, no, they were a very close family. There were 5 children, and they were all treated the same, and everyone else is fine. They were educated in a school where most kids were white. Their family was one of their first Somali families to settle in Bristol, so maybe that had something to do with it. But I can't be certain." Maya met up with her dad last September to film a documentary about children with parents behind bars. She explains, "I felt sorry for him. I felt sad for him. I wanted him to explain why he'd done those bad things and he was embarrassed. I felt bad for him. But sadly she walked away with nothing but disappointment. I know it was an ambitious aim, but I thought maybe there was one thing or a few things that would explain him to me, put him into context," she says. "But I can see it's not as simple as I hoped. I'm left thinking that either he is just bad, or there are things I don't know about him and may never know." Despite this, her career has skyrocketed thanks to her down-to-earth nature, sense of humor on social media and, of course, her superstar boyfriend. Previously she worked on MTV, BBC's Technobabble, Rinse FM and 4Music, and even an episode of The Weakest Link. 3 years ago she met Stormzy, the new king of grime and undoubtedly one of the most influential stars of the past year. But she admits that behind closed doors they are just like any other young couple. She also calls him by his real name, Michael Omari. "For the first year and a half Michael and I were pretty much secret, so nobody really knew about our relationship apart from friends, and that's how we wanted it," she says. "Slowly but surely, we didn't want to hide it so much. I definitely don't call him Stormzy. Unless I have to talk about him on their radio when I have to, which always feels a bit weird. Maya admits she didn't want to be seen to be riding on her boyfriend's coattails. I never wanted my name to be overshadowed by our relationship, she explains. I try to keep it as low-key as possible. But what can you do? He's doing amazingly well. They kept their relationship a secret until Stormzy released Birthday Girl in her honor a year ago, and then their cover was blown. The lyrics read, "You're the birthday queen, what's the drama? I'll be your shining knight, where's my armor?" And? According to Maya, a shining knight is just what she has been looking for, her absent dad. She says that has a huge effect on her relationship, explaining, "The man I look at will always be someone who is supportive and will give a sense of what a father should be. A protective, kind, loving person."